Hello, beauties. Welcome back to the vlog. This week we are talking about books and authors that I have found inspiring to include positivity in my life, both personally and professionally. Yesterday we talked about the book from Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, about seeking your personal legend, which I really love as a concept. And many of you shared some of the books that have had an impact on your life, and I really appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about the author Elizabeth Gilbert, but not her famous book, Eat, Pray, Love, her follow-up to that, which is Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. And it's a provocative title, but really the gist of the book is quite simple. It talks about the essentials to living a creative life. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about this, that really spoke to me, is that you don't have to create for other people. You can create for you. If you like writing, it doesn't mean that you have to have a best-selling novel. Then write. If you want to do a painting because you love painting and you want to hang it in your home, do that. And I love that approach. I want to share a story with you today about myself when I was a little girl and how creativity took hold of my life and changed me, and how now as an adult I've forgotten what that felt like, and I have to get back to that place where I allow myself that space and time to be creative. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in the bustle of trying to get everything done, of all the things we should do, as I said yesterday, that we forget about the things that we want to do. What about the things we could do? So we're going to go back in time now to when I was about 9 years old, in the fourth grade, elementary school, Southern California, public school. And I was bullied. The kids used to grab me by the arms and kick me and push me down on the playground and leave me there. I was very different. I had a lot of trouble at home. My parents were having all kinds of issues, living with grandparents sometimes, having the aunt come pick me up, sometimes back at home. I was in this really difficult space in my life, and I didn't have coping mechanisms, as a 9-year-old to really deal with that. And then I was getting bullied on top of that. I wore really thick glasses. I was the kid who was always done with all the tests first. You might call me a nerd. And I really struggled. And my teacher, Miss Dominic, fourth grade teacher, asked me one day if I wanted to do an extra credit activity, if I wanted to stay in from recess where I was having issues and do an extra credit activity, which was to write a creative story. And so I said, well, sure, it's much better to stay in the classroom than to go out and face the torment. And I wrote this creative story, and I had so much fun creating it, and I read it out loud to my sister, who's 4 years younger than me, and something opened up inside me, and I started to change. And I turned in the story, and the teacher had me read it aloud in front of the class. And it was a special time where we didn't have to do our schoolwork or our homework or anything else. And she made me special in that moment. And the students loved the story. And it changed my interaction with the students in the class as well, and made me one of their peers. It made me the same as them. She really did a unique thing. And then the students started to request that this become a regular thing. So every week or two, I would write a creative story and read it in front of my class. And it became a huge part of my life. It became how I could escape. It became how I could create. It became something that was mine and mine alone. And I would tell stories to my sister late at night when we'd be together, or I would write them down in a little journal and read them to her. And that creativity was such a huge part of how I felt whole and how I had something that really belonged to me. But over time, with the pressures of life and the things that needed to be accomplished, I didn't spend as much time on that anymore. I needed to have a job to pay for the things that I did in school. I needed to make sure that my sister was taken care of. I was moving around a lot. I really was focused on trying to get out of where I was. Everything was about a path to get a scholarship to college and get out of town. And I lost my love and my connection to that creative part of my life. And I used to paint and do a lot of other things too. I'm very musical. But you start to put that aside because you've got to go to a board meeting, or you've got to do laundry, or you have to do dishes, or you've got to get your spreadsheets done, or whatever the thing is that you prioritize above the thing that makes you whole. And one of the things that's interesting about the Elizabeth Gilbert book is that it says that it's okay to have that creativity, but it doesn't have to be for someone else. Right? I'm not a novelist. Many people have told me that I'm quite a mediocre writer, to be honest, and that's okay. If the storytelling is something that speaks to me, that makes my soul sing, then I really need to embrace that. And so a couple years ago, a friend of mine said, "Have you heard of NaNoWriMo?" And I said, "No, it sounds like, I think I made fun of the name actually. It sounds about like me." And this is my friend Alma Jesus, and she said, "Well, you write a novel in a month." And I thought, well, that sounds impossible and horrible, and why would I do that? And terrifying. And she said, "Well, just try it. We're all doing it. There's a bunch of us trying it." And so I did that, and I wrote this fictionalized story of my grandma's story, and I completed it. And I thought, oh my God, I did a thing. And I haven't shown it to anyone, and I maybe never will. But what that did for me is it opened me up and reminded me what's inside me, and that it's okay to create something that isn't shared with everyone else. I can have moments that I don't post in pictures on the internet to share with all of you, and that's okay. It's okay to have things that are private and special to us that help us feel fulfilled. So, great book, really opened my eyes to how I think about things and has changed my belief set about what positivity is in my personal and professional life. Is when I write for myself and I allow myself that time and that space, I am much more effective in the workplace. I am a much better parent. I'm a much better friend because I've done something that I love. I'll see you tomorrow.